All right, and welcome back to another video of cotton harvest. We're back to harvesting cotton. We've done a couple acres already, but we're gonna hammer down and get after it today. We got a half a section due today. Should get done pretty easily. We finished about 300 acres yesterday. We only worked to about midnight, a little after, so not too long of a day, but still being able to make good acres. And this might be a little bit backwards or a little bit reverse order than what probably some of y'all are used to. But what we do, as you can see, my machine is nice and clean. I greased, serviced, filled up with fuel, did everything all last night. That's what we like to do. It's easier that way. Plus, you know, I don't like to leave cotton sitting around. I don't like to leave cotton in my accumulator, as the risk of something igniting inside the accumulator and burning the machine down, it's not what you want to see when you come back to the farm the next morning. So I cleaned the machine, I emptied out the accumulator, cleaned off the machine, greased it, filled it up with fuel, did the whole 9 yards. So now today morning we can usually start pretty early. So right now we'll start her up and we can pretty much head to the field and start harvesting. So it's very nice, stop. I know, machines like to beep at us. So I really love it, mainly because the cotton strippers are so dirty. We blow them off with an air compressor at the end of every single day. And I'd rather blow it off in the evening versus the morning, because now when I get here in the morning, I'm all nice and clean. I can be clean all day long. If I were to clean it in the morning, now I'm dirty, now I'm if my hands are greasy or whatever, then I make it the stereo greasy, I don't know. It's just nice starting off the day clean, and I can just get to work. I don't know. It feels like I got a better start to the day. I like it. But we're gonna knock out some acres today. We'll for sure finish that half section, 240 acres. And then for around here, I believe we got another, 180, 160 acres maybe? Give or take. Yeah, 160 acres. And we might wait with that a little bit. It's still a little bit green. So we'll finish this 240 acres. And then we'll have to move down south a ways and harvest some cotton over there. There's plenty still left to do. We've only just started, so it'll be at least 2 weeks full of a full cotton harvest. So it'll be lots of fun. But I'm gonna get all my lunch, my drinks that I need in the caf all day long. I'm not gonna be near my truck, so I get all that, and then we'll get to harvesting. Well, we're ready to head out. I guess before we head out, if anyone's curious and wants to know how a cotton stripper works and why we run strippers instead of pickers, well, I'll give you a quick rundown. Stripper, yeah, it does exactly what it says. It strips everything off the stalk. You can get different style brushes, but we got what we call bat brushes. They're stiff brushes. So you can get what's called a bat, which is a solid rubber, bat. And you can get brushes, which is like a loose version of this, and bat brush, a stiff brush. So we run mainly or just pure bat brushes. Some people alternate. They'll put one bat, one brush, one bat, and one brush alternating. Some do a mixture of all three. So you can get different kinds, but it strips everything off of the stalk. These will rotate outward, feed everything to those center or those side augers, feed it up, cross auger right here, brings it to the center. There's a fan, suctions it up into the chute, brings it down to what we call the burr extractor, and that separates the burrs from the lint. All the trash, all the burrs, they'll fall down here, these two trash chutes on either side, and all the good cotton comes out the back, goes into the accumulator, where it slowly feeds it into the baler. And the back, the baler is essentially just your regular hay baler, but larger. So there's never enough cotton for a continuous feed to the baler. So that's why you need the accumulator. Plus, this way you can continue driving as it's dumping out a bale that you've wrapped. You can continue driving, and then once it's full, it'll feed it into a nice uniform bale. That's what a stripper does. It takes everything off the stock and then separates it. Picker, on the other hand, you essentially have the same thing back there from the accumulator back. So you don't have a burr extractor on a picker. You have just the header. You got spindles that just take off the lint from the plant and then suctions it into the accumulator. So pretty much the header does all the work. Here we got the header and a burr extractor. Picker has essentially a fancier header. Only difference is with the picker, you can't get that low to the ground, and the picker does phenomenal and high yielding cotton. So if you got, dry land cotton or short stubby cotton, even if it's loaded, a stripper will still do fantastic. But if you got short, knee high, maybe a little higher, if you got cotton that just comes right above the header, that's perfect stripper cotton. It'll strip it clean. It'll do a phenomenal job. But if you got anything above 4 bale an acre cotton, a picker will just work phenomenally. It can just cruise right on through it. If you got tall cotton, picker will also do good. If you got a lot of burrs, a lot of stems, maybe even little cotton, not as much cotton, but if you got a lot of trash on the field, picker would sometimes even do better, because then the stripper will take all those stems, all the twigs, it'll bring them all in there. It's just doing so much more work. So depending on what kind of cotton you have, sometimes you need both. We have both. We got 3 pickers at our South Farm that are constantly working there. We got these 2 machines. We do a lot of acres around here because the cotton's not as tall. So we have different cotton and different machines for different areas. So some people, they'll run just pickers. We run both because we run into both scenarios. So if you want a little fact for the day, well, there it is. Hope you learned something. Guess let's get stripping. Or harvesting, as you would say. Sadly, these machines got a very slow road gear. All right, let's get after it. Row guidance, got a power line pole I gotta watch out for. It's starting off on these end rows. Make sure I don't want to hit that. Oh, I'm getting dangerously close. I'll have to back up. Probably just skip one row for a foot or two. We'll do it that way. Yeah, we don't run GPS, but what we do run, we got a row guidance. On row number 4 right there, that whole bracket right there, that bracket hugs the cotton stock and guides me along that way. I can adjust it if I need to, left or right, which now, the way we planted this field, everything is circle track, so every time I turn around, I'm going to be coming a different direction, so every time I turn around, I'm going to have to move this right or left, depending on which way I'm going. So there'll be a lot of using that knob here today. Now this field It's very spotty. It looks good. It's nice and white, but I don't know, it's not a lot, but getting quite a few. And there's a couple of closed bowls. Luckily some of them are getting caught, which that's what that chute there is for, and that's why it's all open right here. The heavier bowls are supposed to fall out and not go into the accumulator, because that makes a wet bale. And bad grades, not something you want. But the spot where I'm at now, and the cotton looks fine. I mean, you got something small like that, but that's dry, that's brittle. You know, when you're walking through it, you don't see any, but then you get to a little bit of a hill or a worse spot in the field, and there's quite a few bowls that are not opened up yet. They're still closed, still very wet and juicy, so that whenever they fly into the burr extractor, yeah, there's one, which that one is dry at least. It was cracked open and it's dry. I mean, there's a little bit of moisture in there, but not much. But something like that is not what you want to see. Yesterday I finished my bale on this field. I needed just a little bit more cotton to finish a bale. Wrap is expensive, and I'm not about to make one tiny bale. So I was on that end of the field, and it looked fine. There was like no bowls. But now when I got to this side of the field, which now that's where I was starting because it was closer. But here, this spot, you know, it looks fine. Looks ready to harvest. But like I said, you get a little further that way, and a bunch of closed bowls. So I don't know if we'll have to wait with this field, potentially maybe. Or maybe I'll do a little bit more investigating. Maybe I'll go do like a pass in the middle of the field or something, see what that looks like, and I guess go from there. But for now, still got cotton, so I'm definitely gonna finish my bale first before we decide anything. I think there's one big one. Crack it open. At least that one's dry, but this lint that didn't get opened up and dried, this lint should all come out of the burr extractor. Some of it does end up getting in there, but year and conditions, I feel like we've had a lot of it this year. I've even heard of like people up north that are doing like soybeans and stuff. Even those guys have had a rough time all harvesting green stuff. Everywhere everyone's harvesting green stuff. The crop is ready, but everything else is still green. So conditions, and deciding what field to do and what field not to do. And you know, fields are spread out all over the place. You don't really want to move back and forth so many times. So deciding what we're gonna do next, yeah, it'll be a tricky one. It's starting to look like the wetter stuff is only on the edge of the field. Whenever we're walking further in, it doesn't look as bad. So we're gonna make another bale or two and see what it looks like then. See if it gets any better. If not, then we'll have to move down south and so at least start on a different field. Well, it started working better, but we have decided against it because there are still quite a few green bowls on this field, a lot more than what we thought there was. When my cousin sprayed it, he had looked over it and there wasn't that many, but now when you drive over with a sprayer, you go check up on it by, I guess, your hand or your eyes, just driving over to the field and checking up on it visually, and checking it with the stripper going down the field are three different things. You're gonna get three different results. So we're thinking it's too wet, we're just gonna wait on it. So instead, what we're gonna do, we made a couple of bales. My last bale wasn't that heavy, so the outer pass was the worst one, right? So I'm assuming that a complete outer row, that one had majority of the wetness in it. Gave me a 4,700 pound bale. It was a little too heavy. This last bale was 4,400 pounds, so we were a lot lighter. The one right before that was also 4,400 pounds. So that's kind of better in the ballpark where you want to be. So still a little bit wet, but like to be, I guess. So instead, we're gonna park the machines, hop in our trucks, we'll go scout some other fields and see where we can drive. If we have to move further south, it'll be annoying, but it is what it is. The next field that is ready, that is a little inconvenient and out of the way, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. With enough searching, we found one. Found a field to harvest. So the field that we found is about an hour's drive that way with the stripper. And the part that's unfortunate about that is whenever we're done with that whole area there, which there's quite a bit of cotton over there, whenever that's done, we still gotta come back here, finish that 240 acres, and then there's about another 120 acres in small fields. So we still gotta make an extra trip back this way just to finish that, which it would be about maybe one day if we pushed it, day and a half of stripping. So a little bit more driving back and forth, but I guess this way we get to keep rolling and we don't have to wait for another week or two before getting back in the field. All right, here to the field. Let's get her out of transport mode. Get to harvesting some cotton. For real this time. And that right there is what you would call a big old lightning spot. Or at least that's what we assume it is. I wonder who the idiot was that planted way too much overlap on this field. I wonder who it was. Yeah, it was me. I'm the idiot that planted way too much overlap. Yeah, definitely changing that next year. That cannot be 100% because this is very annoying. Like, I know whenever I get to the straight rows, I'm gonna end up stripping some of the other rows, but this is just ridiculous. 100% overlap is not where it's at. I need to dial that down to like 30%, maybe 50, 25%. Yeah, somewhere around there. One more wrap, then I gotta put it in another roll. Gonna drop this bale that I just made. I'll raise up my handler right where I think I need it. Looking at my camera. And new wrap. And another roll of wrap. That easy. One-handed though. It's not. Get back to it. bales, and then I'm out of the wrap for today. I can hold a total of 5 rolls, 4 extra ones up there, and 1 that's currently feeding into the baler. And I am currently 8 bales away from being empty on wrap. Might as well call it quit for the day after I'm done with those 8 bales. All right, we are done for the day. Oh, I feel good to stretch after just sitting for a while. We are out of wrap, and the stripper is very dirty. Yeah, a lot of cotton piled up everywhere. Yeah, definitely a lot of little twigs, leaves. Yeah, it gets dirty after 1 full day of use, which we only started like at around lunch, and still almost finished 230 acres. I would say we finished about 180 acres, which is not bad. Made quite a few rounds, but I'm gonna turn on that air compressor. I'm gonna give this machine a good old cleaning, do the whole service, the whole 9 yards again. We don't have a fuel trailer here today, so we'll have to just fill up tomorrow morning and do the greasing and cleaning all today. But as for this video, as always, I do appreciate y'all for watching. I'll see y'all guys in the next one.